All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, and I'm definitely happy and grateful for all of you being here with me as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in the Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. And everybody can hear me loud and clear and ready to go. As always, drop me a one in the chat and we can get this session off and running. I appreciate it. I see all the ones. Good morning, Benit. Morning, everybody. All right, so let's get right to it. And we'll go over and take a look at the Forex factor, see what we have going on. Monday wasn't too much going on at all, right? We had a bank holiday for New Zealand and Australia. We can see here today, though, we've got Italy still on bank holiday. But today, Tuesday the 25th, we've got U.S. Consumer confidence report coming out. That's going to be important, right? Check temperature check, right? What's the sentiment? And right, for those of you who are new and maybe wondering, what the reports are and why they're important, if you come to Forex Factory, all you have to do is click right on the folder and it'll tell you exactly what it is, right? So you can see actual greater than forecast is good for the currency, and it's released monthly on the last Tuesday of the current month. And why traders care. Financial confidence is a leading indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for the majority of the overall economic activity. Okay, so it's a survey of about 3,000 households, which asked respondents to rate the relative level of current and future economic conditions, including labor availability, business conditions, and economic overall economic situation. So it's important, right? Right. A lot of times people spend based on how they feel, right? We need people to spend money to keep the economy going. So that's why that's very, very important. Okay. So we also have this evening at 9:30. Well, let me go back up. We got new home sales. That's important. Okay, not a red folder, it's orange, but that's very, very important to pay attention to. Okay, because that's a good gauge of the economy. Are homes still selling? Are people still buying homes? Right. We know that we have reports um, that report out in regards to new homes being built. We have reports that come out on new mortgages. Okay, all that stuff is important to check the health of the economy. 9:30 p.m. today, we've got Australia, we've got CPI quarter over quarter, year over year. Then we got the trend mean, well, like a core CPI, like we call it here in the United States. But that's very important as we continue to watch the inflation gauge. All right, so that's going to be important. And we know that Australia held rates. Okay, we know it's been on a decline because they held rates at the last meeting. But when we look at the meeting notes, right, from the Reserve Bank of Australia, they held it strictly to see, okay, what the lagging effects, have been based on the interest rate hikes that they've done thus far. So this CPI report coming out, right, it's gonna, lead a lot of investors to kind of start to see and to place bets in regards to whether or not they're going to raise interest rates or hold interest rates again at their next meeting. Okay, so as we're starting to see inflation come down in several areas, not all areas around the globe, but in several areas. So that's going to be important tonight at 9:30 p.m. for Australia, as we know that has been heading to the downside as of late. And then that's it for today. If we go over to trading economics, we can see European stocks fall, earnings in focus. Hong Kong's exports dropped at least in 10 months. Okay, that's good. What else do we have? Kind of coming out of it, producer prices fall. So in Spain, producer prices fall for the first time since 2020. That's good. Okay, when we talk about inflation, South Korea GDP rebounds. So we're getting, still, that's been a narrative, right? It's been mixed signals when we look at the major data points. Everybody's wondering, are we headed towards that recession globally? If we do, is it going to be a deep recession? Is it going to be a mild recession? So continuing to get mixed signals, which not surprised by considering everything that we've come through over the last few years. So UK budget deficit, why is the 21.5 billion? Swedish producer inflation slows, right? So again, inflation coming down, and then oil steadies as traders assess the market outlook. So it studied above $78 a barrel on Tuesday after rising for 2 straight sessions. All right. So any questions on the fundamentals before we dive into the chart? No. All right. So let's take a look at the DXY, and we'll see, right? Crown still in place, but prices moving sideways, right? The dollar's moving sideways. So when you look at some of your dollar crosses, sometimes it can be a little tough to handle when you got a sideways move in the market. Okay, so we'll see. We'll get a reaction, right? We always say when we get the market moving sideways, we need a fundamental catalyst, and we know today, right, we have some data coming out from the United States, the consumer confidence. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that as well. Any questions on the dollar in general?
No.
Thank you. All right, let's dive in and take a look. We have posted the Aussie Swiss as it has continued to decline, right? And we're moving in on this daily D extension. Okay. Carolyn, let's go back and take a look at it on the DXY. Yeah, we don't quite have a support there yet, right? But we're getting a bullish push to the upside just ahead of the news today. Right, so we may we may continue to climb. We've got a high here on the 1, right? That this was the high, so we don't quite have it yet. But if we close lower, that'll be a high resistance. We know here on the 1 hour, right? So that 1 hour to that until we hit the 7 o'clock hour, we don't have a high there yet. Let's see, right? If that closes, right, that'll be a swing high. All right. So we'll see how that pans out. Thanks for the heads up on that. All right. So let's go to the Aussie Swiss. Okay. And we can see that we're coming right into the D extension. Let's go to the weekly first. We'll take a look at that. Right. And you can see that we broke that level and we're moving down, right? So the Swiss currency continues to remain strong. We've got weakness out of the Aussie, and we broke that level with 60.26. Okay. We come to the daily, right? So it's clearly bearish, right? We're coming into an extension here on the daily. Okay. It's coming to the end of a long, long run here, right? Coming into a D extension. So this move right out of this 61.8 zone, okay, it's been over 600 pips to the downside, right? So we're nearing a D extension on this. So on the 1, right, where we called it, at some point for price to potentially reverse. Okay, just wait patiently. You can see that it's now pushed down to that 118, 127 zone, and we're waiting to see if we can get a reaction. Okay, back to the upside. All right, so we're in range. So what we're looking for, okay, if you're using trend lines, you're looking for trend line breaks, look for prices to start making higher highs and higher lows, whether it's on the 1 hour, 15 minute, 5 minute, however you're playing it. But we are in a zone now where we're trying to see if we can get a reaction. and a pullback. Okay, so we weren't quite there yet yesterday, but now coming into Tuesday morning, we're sitting right in that zone, right? So continue to watch that. Use your confirmations. See if there's an opportunity for a play. Any questions on the Aussie Swiss? Nope. Okay. All right. And again, right? If you're, hey, I'm bearish, then you wait for a high price and then you look to get short. Okay. On that one. So that's it on the Aussie Swiss. I mean, yeah, no, Aussie Swiss. We posted a pound dollar yesterday on the 5-minute for a play. So we need to check in on that to see how that went. All right, so that one's at TP1. Okay, we'll see if it wants to turn over and get to TP2. But that's pretty good setup, right? So right out of that zone, TP1 out. We see we got a reaction. Maybe we'll turn over, continue to make a lower low to the downside. So if you're in that trade, congrats. That one was a quick mover on the 5-minute. So we'll continue to monitor that. Manage your trade, right? Maybe you're out right now because it did hit TP1. So you're looking at 50 pips. Okay. Any questions on that pound dollar play? No? Anybody ever able to play that one?
My Discord was acting funny yesterday. I heard the alert, but wasn't nothing posted, and then it went into an update, so I missed it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Always new setups coming. So I want to go and check on this pound yen setup on the 15 because the where's that? Not really. So short. There's a hold on, everybody. Chart got deleted again. I'll this setup. I'm looking for a long on this. Looking for a long on this eventually, right? So we're coming out of this zone. I want to see this move down. Okay. Into our buy zone, right? Because I want to stay bullish on the on this pound yen cross. So this is what I'm looking at. So prices, I want to see price move down into our buy zone, and then I want to look to get long. Okay. So you can see we're coming out of the 80-20 here on the 15. But once I get a deep price on this, I want to get long on this setup. So like this. I have to go back in and put my levels in. It was a short here on the 5, right? It got stopped out, but then it collapsed. So, what on the 15? Okay. So this is what I would like to see happen, right? I want to see price come down into our buy zone here. Right, into our zone. Right, there's a weekly support there.
Hey Benny, you say when
Yes.
you on SmartTrader, can you isolate to one fib level to activate that trade on there, or it has to be by multiple?
Are you talking about activate the fib so it automatically takes the setup?
Yeah.
You can. And I actually I'm actually gonna call them today. For some reason, it was activating, but now it's not. I don't know if I have to clear everything out and redo it. But yeah, you can. If you have the power fib option on here,
Okay.
you could do that. I think mine's like I think I pay like 49 a month or something like that for it. But I'm having some issues with it right now, so gotta call them. But I'll show you what you could do. I'll
Okay.
show you.
It was another update. When I opened it on my iPad, I got a message. It was a little update.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's what's because I couldn't get it to post the buy limits on one of my setups yesterday. So um right. So this is what that setup would look like. So if you take that off the 61.8, what's that? About 85. Okay, off the 61.8 minus 85. And if we long off of there to the extension, uh, but I want to see if I can get a lower price, right? Have it come into the zone. So if you set up and you have that power Fibonacci feature, right? You can just click on the fib and you can go to your settings and I could take it, you can set it up. So if I go to trading and I could say allow trading, only current fib, and it'll do like with the user rule 5%, of the level, right? So how we always say, hey, if you set buy limits, kind of set it before the level here with this feature, it can automatically set it 5% before the level. Okay, so if I want to take it at the 61.8, right, you could do it there, and then I could say like, all right, well, if I want to take it at 0.04, like so, it's already has everything set up for you. And then if I wanted to take it at the 786, the same thing. Maybe say I would take that at 0.06. Okay, like that. Hit OK. And then what you could do is you could do see how we got the distance from the D for the limit, how we always say, hey, put your take profit right before the extension. You can do it for 10 pips or however many you want. And then this here is the stop is at a percentage, but I always do pips like that. And then you hit save, and then it would load it on there for you. Okay. So, but for some reason, like I said, I got a call in today because I think I need to reset something. But that's how that would work. So then you don't have to, it'll just automatically plug in the buy limits at those levels, have your stop set, have your TP set. So that's how that works. easy. It's easy to set up. I just got to figure out why it's not working for me right now. Any other questions on that? You're welcome. You're welcome. So that is the pound yen. Want to take a look at the rest of these Aussie pairs just to take a quick look at them. Okay, just ahead of what's going on tonight, because this week there's only morning sessions, so just want to get everybody keyed into what's going on with these pairs because we do have the CPI data coming through for Australia. All right, we know that the CAD, right, it shows some weakness as of late. So if we take a look, let's take a look at our Aussie pairs across the board. And you can see, right, that sell side for the most part is on a daily, right, it moved buy side a little bit. But for the most part, we're selling. We're starting to, to move into some neutral levels on the higher time frames. So tonight's report will be interesting to see which way it wants to push the market. Hold on one second. I think my internet froze a bit. Can everybody still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, appreciate it. So this is where we are. So we've got a move where we now have a new high here. Okay, and our stochastics is in a sell zone. Okay, so here, our resistance level. So okay, so it's a daily resistance. We got a stochastic that's in the sell zone. Okay. So ultimately, okay, we look to stay bearish, okay, but we've got some misalignment here. So on a 4 hour, we're in the buy zone. So you can see how this is moving sideways. Okay, so just continue to be patient with this one. Right, so we come into support. We're going to ultimately look for this one to break lower. So we're moving sideways now, right? Kind of range bound. So let's see which way the market wants to push on this Aussie CAD as we move throughout today into the evening with the news coming up. So gotten trapped in the range. We are. Maybe we make a move back to the top, retest those 4 hour levels, maybe even back to that daily at 9106. But for the most part, we are still bearish overall, right? We've got a deep correction, 50% up against that weekly level. And so we're looking for eventually for this D extension to get hit on the on the Aussie CAD. Okay. So let's see what happens. See how that CPI comes out. If the CPI continues to show a decline, and then we may, then the bets may be put on the side that, hey, they're going to continue to pause rates in Australia, right? We know they've already paused it in Canada. We also want to continue to watch that oil price. Okay. So we saw this morning on the report that oil is starting to steady a little bit. So we'll continue to watch that. But the move that I want to see is for it to continue to break through levels and move to the downside. Let's see if we can get that stochastic to move back up in the sell zone. Oh, all right, we already covered the Aussie Swiss. We know where that's at. Take a look at this Aussie yen. This one, I know we went over it over the weekend, but this one is continuing this downside move. So I'm waiting on it. I missed it on the 1 hour. Not sure if anybody's short on this, but for a longer swing. But we've got this stochastic, right? We got a little bit on the weekly, right? That's a longer term swing, right? That takes a while. But right now you can see that it's starting to turn over, right? Moving bearish for the week. If we come down to the daily, you can see that we got a stochastic in the sell zone. So we look for its further continued downside push, right? So this is all just ahead of the CPI data coming out for Australia tonight. Okay, so we've already had a pullback in our 61.8 zone. Beautiful move. Right? We know the market moves in waves. It doesn't move straight down, but you can see how we come back up, tested that 90.14 up against the trend line, and it's starting to move back bearish. Okay, so if we come here and we look at this cloud, we can see that it's starting to poke back through. Okay, starting to move back through the cloud to the downside. Okay, just like that. So if we take it off, you got a 4 hour stochastic in the sell zone. You got a daily stochastic in the sell zone, right? And you can see how that's breaking our trend line. It's like that. There. Okay. It's textbook there, everybody. There we go. So we look for pullbacks and continuation. Keep in mind, you've got a pretty important data coming out tonight at 9:30 on the Aussie, right? CPI data. What is a balance? I don't know what that is. Carolyn. Oh, that's just the name of the template, right? B Allen, right? That's me, right? That's just what I named the template. It just changed. It just took it just took the cloud off.
No,
So
that's the new indicator. That's the new indicator.
That's cool. No, it's just makes it easy, right? So I don't have to put everything back on it one at a time, right? Just save your template. Okay. So there we go. So that's what that Aussie yen looks like, right? Right. We got a clear 61.8 pullback, and we've broken the trend line, broken through some support. Okay. So we look for pullbacks and continuations. All right. Any questions on the Aussie yen? No. All right. Cool. Okay. So let's keep it moving on these Aussies. Aussie NZD. Okay. Look at this. Crazy. Right. Found a high, right? Moving sell side, back sell side now. Goodness. All right. Huge bearish move today. I have to follow up on that and see what's going on. Look at that. Okay.
Again, I find it crazy that New Zealand had a bank holiday and the temperament
All right.
was bullish, and I was like, what, everybody went home to trade. So it
I
was crazy.
know. I know. This is, I mean, it's a correction, but man, it's a pretty violent one, eh? Straight down. So I want to see what's going on with that. But it's above the cloud, got a correction, right? So one, two, that third wave, right? ABCD wave. So we're coming in right on the 61.8 there. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we've got a bullish cloud up ahead. There's nothing wrong with the correction. It's just how steep, right? That's a pretty strong correction. On your one, it took it out, but that's okay, right? That hit the 80-20 zone and just collapsed, right? So we talked about this before, right? How that a deeper correction on a higher time frame will take your A's out, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to move back bullish eventually. But that's a pretty strong move to the downside. Still holding along on the correction. Yeah, you've been in it for a minute, right? So the market's taking back some of it. So that's it'll be interesting to watch. Let me clear this out and put my levels back in. Mhm. So let's keep watching. It's been a nice bullish move. So we know our 4-hour fib is still in play. So we'll do this and just continue to watch it. We got a 4-hour stochastic back in the buy zone. Man, it was a wicked move off that level. Nobody liked 109.29, I tell you that. Took some profit. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, right? So if we're gonna move back bullish, it becomes simple, right? We look to hold in the zone. We look for breaks and retests, right? Back to the upside, like that. That's a very strong move to the downside. Okay. That 1 hour 80-20 was a monster. Some of you were able to play it, find it and play it. It's a nice move off that level. 100 pips. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens as we move forward into this evening. Oh, to the downside, Carolyn. Well, the original on that one, right? Because we had a reversal. Okay, we had a reversal here. So let me move this 4 hour fib out. So, right, it just becomes our traditional 80-20 setup on the one. Right. So where we had that low, this is your setup. Okay. All right. This is your zone here. Okay. So if this setup, and I have to look through, I don't know, I have to go back to the Discord. I don't know if Ryan posted it or not. He might have, but I know I didn't catch it. I know I didn't play it. I was looking on that 4. For this the price action above the cloud, but your setup would look like this. Okay. Anytime you have a new AB boundary, okay, we call it the bat signal, that new AB boundary, because that's when the game begins. So here, for your counter move, we know we like to move to at least the 382, 61.8 for TP levels. And we know we have the A boundary would be our TP3, which in this case, it went through all 3. Now, if I'm playing a true traditional, right, 80-20, we know we have where we can have the move off of the B boundary. Okay. And the B to C move off the B boundary, like so. Okay. So price can turn right off that B boundary. But okay, that golden sweet spot that we like to trade to the counter, what we call that 80-20, is right here in this zone. Right there in the zone. So when you get that AB boundary, and you see how we had a shallow retracement, less than a 382. There's that 382. Price didn't retrace there right away. It pushed up in the zone. Okay. Pushed up in the zone. Once we get up into the zone after a shallow retracement, we look for price to correct back to the downside. That's exactly what it did. Okay. So the answer, right, to your question, you're playing at 80-20, is you're going to look to play this zone here for your entry. Okay. Now, some people like tighter stops or using trend line breaks. Okay. If you play it up into this, wait for it to push up into the zone after a shallow retracement, all right, you can leave your stop here if you want at the extension, because if it doesn't hit the D extension, it's going to correct. Okay. It's going to look to correct to the downside. Okay. So you look coming out of the zone, right? You got your stop, 34, right? Close to 60 pips there. So almost a 2-to-1. Okay. Get it here, 78, 110. Okay. So this is your zone. Okay. So you look somewhere in here. Okay. There. There. It's an easy setup to identify, especially if you're using SmartTrader and the smart fibs, which is right. So you can see here where it missed, right? You win them all? No, right? You can see here it corrected, right? Didn't come down. It came down quite a ways, right out of the zone, but we didn't get the 382 target. It came down, back down to daily support.
Benny,
Whether or not you to make, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I got my daily fib copy down to the 4 and a 1. So it's like it just broke up underneath the 236. When the 80-20 happened like this and we got the daily fib drop down, do we still aim for the target for the 382? Or because that move would take too long, just play the waves?
Put this on your trade plan. You're talking about, what are you talking about? How do you have your fibs running?
I have my fibs running to the upside from the daily, from my
Okay.
And I guess because what happened was when I ran on the last leg, I have my on the daily. I got a fib running up on that last leg, copy down.
Oh, to the upside like this. Oh, it's not even giving it to me.
I did a manual.
Okay.
I just did it from the low to the high.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my question is, so I guess I'm making it difficult for myself, of course. But because that's from the low to the high, that would be I don't know what I'm asking. I don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong with me putting that fib there, I guess.
I mean, you don't have technically that fib running from the low to the high. You technically don't have a completed swing high yet. This is being reflected on your lower time frame. You see what I'm saying? Like this is because the smaller wave. The smaller wave already has this as a high.
Okay.
You see what I mean? It already has it as right. This is what pretty much what you're showing here is a smaller wave. You see how this, because that's a larger fib, how it engulfs these 3 fibs here on the 4. See that?
Yes.
How that's transferred down?
Yes.
So this is how oftentimes people are traditionally taught, right? Just running from the low to the high. Like that. You see it? See how that is? Let me take this out. Okay. Right? That's your larger wave. You see? That's what people say, like, we're running from the low to the high. Well, it's like, well, if you just turn on your charts, like, yeah, that's why a lot of times you'll end up hearing people say that fibs are subjective, right? Because guess what? If you turned on your chart and it was like just running from the low to the high, at one point you would have had this fib right here. And at one point, before that, if you would have turned on your chart and price action right here, you would have drug your fib right here. Does everybody see that? Yes, no? Right? And you see why we teach it the way we teach it? And understand the swing highs and swing lows? Go ahead.
That huge fib that you have there covering those 3 smaller fibs, what time span is that?
That was the daily, right? That Joy pulled down off this leg right here, because it is an impulse leg. So I totally understand her thought process. Right? So because she's ahead of the game, because this is right going to form a high. As soon as this daily candle closes out, you're going to have a high here. Right? So you see how this price is swing. Okay, so she's saying boom, explosive impulse leg. I'm going to run the fib. Okay, so when that closes, which it will, it's not going to reverse and go and move to the upside. Okay, so that will be, but this when this closes, you will be able to drop a smart fib here, and it'll give you a fib and activate a fib. So she just jumped ahead of the game, which is cool, and just said because this is going to be my confirmed high once this candle closes. But you see that's the larger wave. But when you do that sometimes, right? And if this was the way you were taught, like at one point you could find your low, but at what point, what's my high, right? What's my high there? Okay, it would be all relative to when you turned on the chart and saw the price action. Okay, so this is why, okay, this makes sense on your lower time frames because it's a smaller wave. Okay. Yep, because you have to remember, right? The smaller time frames are just smaller replicas, fractals of your higher time frame. So this method enables you to get involved in this move to the upside, right? And to start tracking these waves. Okay. All right, see that? Okay. That's just like how you can put right? You could put your candle overlays, right? So if I wanted to put a candle overlay and look at what those daily candles look like on my 4-hour chart, that's what it would look like. Yep. As you move, right? As you move um, down through the time frames, Carolyn, that's exactly what you're doing. Okay. So you guys remember all the time when we draw, right? So if this is going to be the case, okay, here, okay. You guys remember when we did this here, where this could be a larger wave. Right. Say this drops to 8.6 or something like that. Leave it at the 61.8 since there's some structure there. And then this moves to the upside. Okay. That's just your larger wave. But it's gonna move in the same direction. It's just gonna do it in smaller waves on the 4 and on the 1. See? All right. So it ends up, see, look. Okay. See that? That's what it's doing. So it's like, I got a lot of stuff going on my chart here, but if these black lines are my larger daily wave, everybody, all that's happening, okay, on your lower time frames, right? So this is my 1 hour. We're just making smaller waves, okay? Smaller ABCD waves. See? And then we can see now how price has reversed. That's why we say when we get a deeper correction on the higher time frames, oftentimes it's going to take out, okay, your 8 boundaries on your lower time frame. And then if this is meant to reverse and get back long, guess what it's going to do in your lower time frame? It's going to make smaller ABCD waves, whether it's the 1 hour or the 15. But this is what we mean when we say that your higher time frames control your lower time frames. Potentially, Carolyn, yes. Yep. Once that, if the directional biases continue to get long, right, on this Aussie NZD, once it's done making that correction, then you look for that C to D push, right? If that bullish bias is gonna hold. Okay. So that's that. That's that.
Yeah, the only reason why I drew that fib is because my primary fib on the daily price has already retraced it in the sweet spot. So I guess I was trying to see whether or not if it was gonna come back to that area or hit the 618 and then go back up. So that's the only reason why I drew it.
Yeah, you think it was correct?
Okay.
You think it was correct because we've already made this move.
Yeah.
Right. You've already made that move on the daily fib, the capital fib.
Okay.
So you've already made it. So you're trying to say, look, where can I get that next position? Okay. So we'll see how far it wants to correct. Okay. On that. Well, that's where we are. But you can see what's going on from the weekly. Right. You've got a bullish move, and now price is corrected. And where the issue is, right, is that it took back pretty much this entire candle from a week ago. Look at that. Okay. That's when things get a little crazy, right? And you get the deeper retracements and you start getting the A's taken out on your lower time frame. Like here, like what it did here. It took that A out. But it was a beautiful 80-20 swing, though. Okay. That took it out. But it went through all three of those TP levels because look what it did. It pretty much took back everything from last week. All right. So those could be a little tricky, but that 1 hour 80-20 puts you in position to be able to make money off of it. All right. So good conversation. Good conversation. Price action is fascinating. Yep, that's it, Carolyn. That's why we do top down analysis. Right. We start from the top and we work our way down. All right. So let's look at this this Aussie dollar. Okay. See us turn over a little bit this week. All right. Turning over this week. That stays below that level, right? We'll have a new high. Okay. Look at the move. So in this range, we're moving bearish to the downside ahead of Australian CPI. So we're just ranging, just bouncing back and forth. Just bouncing back and forth. Maybe we'll get a better reaction tonight with the CPI data coming out of Australia. Give us some more forward guidance on that. So that's where we are on the Aussies, everybody. Any questions on anything that we covered today?
Not yet.
Not yet. For sure. If you have questions, make sure you utilize the Discord. Okay. If you have any questions, or if you guys have trade ideas yourself, post them in the Discord. Post them. Right. Post them in the Discord. This is on the 5. Yeah. So it's moving down. So we get that coming to that zone, get a reaction. All right. Well, hey, we're gonna wrap it up. Everybody, if you don't have any other questions, great session. There is no 9 p.m. session this week. Ryan is out on vacation with his family, taking some well-deserved time off. So we'll only be doing the New York sessions this week. But hey, if you have any questions, again, can't stress it enough, make sure you put it in the Discord. If you have any trade setups that you're looking at, right, make sure you post them in the Discord. With that being said, everybody, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.